Item number 8 is a motion to approve the TIFA budget amendment dated September 8, 2020. Jason.
Yes, again, good evening, everybody. So what we have here is kind of like the first budget amendment of the year. What I did is, we're close to starting the audit for the city, and I went back and I reviewed everything in the TIFA. There was a couple items on this agenda that needed to be amended, but while we were doing this, I went ahead and I did a carryover of items that were approved last year, and the work didn't start to this year, so that essentially went down to fund balance. So the fund balance was going to be higher than what we anticipated at the end of last fiscal year, but then again, we have to account for those expenditures that we already approved as the board. So that's what we're doing here on most of these line items, but I'm going to go through a couple of these other non-carryover items that we go through. So on the revenue side, about a month ago, we submitted the personal property tax reimbursement to the state, and noticed that the amount was a little bit less than what we normally get. So I talked to the assessor, and the assessor said, yeah, because there was some reclassification of personal property tax in the TIFA district. So I said, okay, well, something doesn't make sense there. And what she gave me was updated values. Basically, what she indicated for a number of years, there was when new personal property parcels were added to that area, they were not added to the TIFA district within the assessing software. What that does is that's increasing the actual taxable value for the TIFA district for personal property tax, but the negative is it reduces the personal property tax reimbursement from the state LCSA. So essentially it's a wash, it's a net zero. The tax revenue is still going to be approximately around 7.4 million between the two sources, but since I got those updated numbers from the assessor, I felt it prudent to make the adjustment on the budget this time while we're doing the amendment. And as you can see, the net difference between the two amounts is only $20,000. But that's what happened, is that there was some reclassification of the personal property tax within the district that essentially took it from the personal property tax reimbursement revenue source to the actual tax increment revenue source. So when I saw that calculation to the state, I got kind of worried, and I talked to the assessor, but we got it worked out because it shouldn't change that much. So we were good there, but I wanted to make that change on the budget when we were doing this one as well. Other than that, just going down real quick, the expenditure side, you got a $290,000 increase in the street light repairs, and that's just a carryover from the prior year. That wasn't spent, but it was approved. The TIFA signage is increasing approximately $809,800, and that's including engineering costs and the amount that's going to be up for approval at this meeting. So that's where those changes are. The Breast Road improvements, the Racco Road improvements, the Eureka Road infrastructure, the TIFA, the Party and Superior Roads, all those were expenditures approved by the board in the prior year that weren't constructed in the prior year, so we had to carry them over. So that's what we're doing now. At the bottom, if you noticed in our financial report that was earlier the agenda, we had roughly about a $4 million fund balance, but as you can see for beginning, now that beginning fund balance is estimated to be $6.3 million because of that carryover. So with those budget adjustments, our estimated ending fund balance is approximately $3.3 million, or about 44%. So a lot of the changes are related to carryover. Since we're doing a budget amendment, I wanted to address those carryovers for purchases, so we don't run into any kind of budget problem with our purchasing. And then also account for the couple items that are up for approval in the next few items. Sorry, that was a lot, and I do talk fast, so if there's any questions, I'll be happy to entertain them right now.
Any questions for Jason? And I should have had a motion before we actually had this discussed, but that's okay. Mr. Philo?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. The motion by Mr. Philo.
Support.
Support by Ms. Croft. Mayor?
Mr. Chairman, just a point of information. I'm sorry, I'm gonna take this off so I can talk. The one project that will likely not happen this year, although it is being, it's obviously accounted for, I think we're gonna revisit it next year, is the Superior Road resurfacing of $440,000. Just based on the amount and the amount of continued damage, after it was approved, we went out and reevaluated, and I think what we're going to do is revisit this next year and just get a price to have that section of Superior Road completely tore out and repaved. We're looking at those options right now, but that amount will not be spent this year.
But I'm assuming with what you're talking about now, this amount will not cover the new design or the new repair.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. But we don't think that it'll happen likely before June 30th of this year anyhow, so it won't be accounted for in this budget. I mean, the amount's there, it's approved, but we are not going to move forward. It's just continuing to fail, and the amount of, I guess, surgery that is required on Superior Road at this time, I think it's just, at the number, or the sheer dollar value that we're now at, I think it's just worth considering having it repaved. We're going to look at whether, I mean, currently it's concrete. I think we're going to look at both options of having it repaved concrete and another option of if we move to an asphalt option. I don't even know if we can do that or not, but we're going to look at all the options before we bring it back to this board. But we will not be moving forward as is.
Okay. Any other questions for Jason on the budget amendments?
And, Mr. Chairman, if I may just make a comment on that, with that information, I'm still gonna keep it within this budget amendment, and then when we come to you guys for another, budget amendment, I'll make sure to, address it if we have to at that point in time. So, to be conservative, I'm gonna keep it in the budget as is, and then, we'll address it in the next budget amendment if we can take it out or not, so.
Okay. Thank you. No other comments or questions? We have a motion by Mr. Fowler, supported by Ms. Croft. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Motion carries. Item number 9 is a motion to approve Warner Contractors and Development low bid for construction of the Eureka Way Gateway Signs project for the amount of $1,110,000 plus a 10% contingency of $111,000 for a total of $1,221,000.
Move to approve.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Dupre, supported by Ms. Jarecki. Under discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to invite Kelly from Wade Trim up to talk about the overall scope of the project, if it's okay with you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
While she's making her way up here, though, just a little background. We started this process, I think, with Wade Trim probably nearly 2 years ago. It started off, we really didn't know, we weren't sure of what the gateway signage would look like at both Eureka and Telegraph and Eureka and Allen. We considered a couple of different options. It kind of progressively got to the design where we're at. The current budget, I believe, allocates $900,000, so we knew it was going to be an expensive design. We weren't sure. I'll let Kelly speak to, you know, what is going on in the industry with cost and what we anticipate will continue to happen related to cost. But this is a complex sign. It's going to, the proposed placement is going to go in the center median. It required a lot of involvement with MDOT, getting them to sign off on it, and with where the all the right-of-way utilities currently are running through that section of Telegraph. It's quite busy, so we almost had to create the perfect design to get everything to fit as is. And I will turn it over to Kelly and allow her to provide some of the detailed background on the actual engineering itself.